Welcome to this episode of Your Spiritual Business Coach. I am your host, Ashu, and I am the coach for light leaders ready to own their fierce self expression and build audiences that trust you with their eyes closed. We do this by integrating feline energy, which helps you birth match made in heaven offers and whisker-licking good marketing. And today I have such a juicy episode for you. I want you to think, can you just imagine charging 3 times? Think of your price that you charge right now, 3 times to the same client that you're working with right now. Just picture yourself quoting it. Worse, picture an old client that you charged even lesser and picture charging them 3 times of your current amount. If that sends you spiraling down, it makes your throat contract, it makes you feel like, oh, that is never possible. Maybe I will just let them go. Then I have just the guest for you. Shri is one of my lovely, lovely clients who did exactly the same when we worked together. And everything that you're about to listen in this podcast is going to be a testimony to the fact that when I coach you, when I work with you, we don't work for those 3 months, 5 months, or that period that you try to work with me. Whatever I share with you, it lasts for a lifetime because we are connecting after such a long time. Shri and me are connecting after such a long time. I have even lost memories of certain things we talked about. So the way she runs her business, she's going to mention certain things and all of that. And you will realize that once you step into a container, how your life is totally shifted from that point on. But before that, welcome to the podcast, Shri. I would love for you to share what you do with the person listening to this episode. What is the kind of work you do, who you are, and all of that.
Hello, hey Ashu, hello everyone. It's so lovely, so exciting to meet you after a very long time. And I think we worked around into 2023, year there, January, and that 3 months. And it was so crazy, right? And I still follow all those, kind of strategies and things and all the rituals and so many things from that coaching. And from my introduction, I'm Srividya. I am a manifestation coach and I am all into magnetizing your energy and slaying your subconscious mind to attract your dreams without working for hundreds of hours on rituals, techniques, and kind of things. I am more into less techniques and more of fun because I am a mom, which means I have a very less time in hand. So I do everything on the go. So manifestation is also a kind of lifestyle for me rather than sitting and doing a long hours of meditation and things like that. So for now, I'm working on one-on-one coaching, and of course, as I said, I'm a mom. I'm just moved to a new country, so I'm just settling down and things like that. That's what it's about me.
I love that. I'm glad you mentioned it because if you would not have mentioned it, I would have mentioned it. That she is a mother, so you know who to go to if you are done following these coaches who try to give you these big ass things to do and you don't have time for them because it doesn't fit in your schedule. It's not coming from someone who really understands you and your lifestyle because your kid could wake up someday in the middle of the night and now you have not had a good sleep. How do you meditate and do your 5 hour morning rituals from that? So if you are someone who wants to make manifestation a lifestyle and also maybe you are a mother, even if you're not a mother and you have less time on hand, then Shri is your person to go to. I will link her Instagram in the show notes so you can always find her. But talking about finding, I want you to tell the audience, could you share what brought you to me? How did you find me? What was it that made you want to work with me and all of that?
Yeah, sure. So I have a very fair memory of that. I was going through the Explore page on Instagram. I was searching for coach, business coach exactly. But at that time, you were not established as business coach. You were still calling yourself as manifestation coach, but you were running some business stuff inside. So that is where I found you, and I thought I'm new to you. The thing is, when I started texting you, I could see that you have texted me already 1 year ago. So you were like, you were already DMing me about this is what I'm doing. If you want some work, like help on this, come to me, kind of these things. So then I realized, okay, we are already following, and I didn't know that. So that is the thing, and yeah, that is how I found you. And the the program that I wanted was for around, that is a business coaching for 3 months, I guess 3 months, and it was for way too less than what we worked on. So yeah, that is that, and definitely it was worth investing more than what I saw in your profile. And yeah, that is how I saw you. That is how I invested in you. Yeah.
But what made you actually invest in me? Like, why me? Why not some other business coach out there? I know you've invested quite a lot in your brain, and I love that.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
what
So I was in a community also that 2019 is the time I no online. Okay, I'm not an online person at all. I was never. As you know, I don't even have Facebook account. I opened it just for my college friends to tag me. They asked me to open an account, and that is the only online kind of stuff. So I don't know any online stuff. And when I wanted to start blogging and stuff, that was the time I joined a community. And all the people who I work with or I have friends on online or everything, they are kind of around that group. Okay, so I just want someone to be out of totally who doesn't know me at all. This reason may be strange for few people, but that is what I wanted. People who are in and around the same community, they are going to give you the same kind of advices, same kind of strategies, and things like that. And also, I want someone to not know me and not know anything about me. Okay, so that they will give me so much of blind spots kind of things. They'll be open to share more things about me. And yeah, and another whole thing is that I did not just jump in and invested in you. Whenever I invest, the very first thing is the vibe. Even if you see, the very first message would be, I love the vibe of your page. That was the very first message I have sent you. So that is the thing. And then that is the first thing I would see whenever I'm investing in a coach. The vibe should match. It is not that you have to be similar like me. Of course we are not similar. Like, you are so super energetic, you are like enthusiastic kind of person. You will do 10,000 things at once, but the vibe should match, which is, I don't know how to explain it. Mostly people would definitely understand what it means. So the vibe should match, the vibe that I should love. And these two things are the first very crazy things. And secondly, I also went through your profile, which means it should not feel like a cookie cutter kind of a thing. It should never feel like, okay, this is the thing, okay, do this. It should not feel like that. So it was so flowy, so humanly. And that is the thing that made me invest in you. And yeah, and I did not invest immediately. We got on a call as well. And then I took some time, like, whether to invest or is this worth it kind of. I went through the process and then only invested in you. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I love the perspective you've put forward, because I've never thought of it that way, to have someone who doesn't know me at all, because they will call you out on things. Like, when we look at ourselves in the mirror, we look at ourselves every single day, so we are not able to see the difference. But when someone who has not seen us for a very long time can look at those differences, or someone who's absolutely new might point something out which we have not even realized. So that's a very, I'm shocked right now, because I always thought very differently. I thought that, oh, if I work with a coach for a very long time, then they would already know what are the things that block me and all of that. But this is so refreshing for me, and that makes me realize, oh, that's why I also tell my clients, okay, yeah, take a break. Don't work with me all the time, take a break after it. And now I'm realizing, oh, that's why it helps a lot when a client comes back after the break, because now I'm seeing very different things about them, and they have been able to implement very different things. So it gives them that space to progress. So I'm excited about that. Yes. Okay. And I remember this conversation that we had, because it just came to me when you were talking, when you were speaking about your group and everything. And one thing you had said to me was that, Ashu, I took a break. You came to me when you had taken after a break and you wanted to get back, and the people around you who started at the same time had progressed, and you felt left behind. Am I on the right track? Yeah, that's what was happening.
Yeah, it was like the community that I mentioned, people in there were from around 2019 or so. They were there in that community, and I joined in the community only around 2020, like mid of 2020 or so. So we are kind of both. We started kind of same time, but people, when I see their progress, it was different. Also, I don't know. Okay, it is coming. So let me put it out. So there was a coach with whom it's like we both were under the same community, and she definitely was way what to say, she's way ahead. She was already way ahead. When I took a break and came back, she was already very much way ahead for me. Like, she is so many steps ahead of me. So she opened one-on-one coaching for her business coaching, right? And I was like, I wanted to invest in her because I was looking at her profile for a very long time. I wanted to work with her for a very long time. And for some reason, it did not happen. Like, as I said, I was moving here and there and it didn't happen rightly. So I was inquiring about that. And that time I got a message saying, this is not for so and so level. Okay, I don't call her out. I don't say that. I'm not blaming her. Definitely, as a business coach, as a coach, they have set some standards. But for me, as someone who's applying from my end, it definitely hurted. And that was like, okay, maybe I should not go to anyone who knew me, because that is also some kind of impact, right? They may think like, you are starting from that time and you did not grow till now, and I don't think I can help you, kind of. You get it? So that is something very disturbing. I didn't want to go to anyone who I knew. I told you even in our call when I wanted to invest in mastermind, but I didn't want to because I don't want to meet people. You remember that? I don't want to be in group setting. And now I'm totally out of that mindset. But initially at those times, I was like, no, I don't want to meet people. I just want to focus on my growth, my work. That's it. That was another thing which made me to invest in you. But that is like, it was kind of universe wanting me to come out of that fear, come out of that discomfort, come out of that mindset block. So the thing is that she was very much associated with you, which I never knew. Okay. So yeah, it doesn't have to be anything wrong from her end as well. It is nothing wrong from her end. But for me, it was painful when someone said no to me. Right. So that is the thing. So yeah.
I totally get that. And now I'm thinking of from the perspective of there are people like the sisterhood wounds that come into picture and all of the things that are happening around there and how you overcome it. I'm so glad that you said that you've overcome that aspect and that you are now not afraid of groups. But I'm seeing that the impact that it might have created on you as such that, oh, I was in this the feelings of rejection. As you were saying it, I could actually feel, I was attuning to your nervous system and I could actually feel that there's a lot of rejection and the feeling of I don't belong here, I am not a part of the industry as well, and that I have not done enough. And it's not, our childhood was a long period to make us feel like we were not enough. So I think another person telling us that you're not enough is not really fun. And there's a way to tell people that, hey, this container might be better suited for you instead of this one. So I'm glad you brought that up, and I love the way you did it ethically. Instead of bringing someone down, you shared what it's like a relationship coaching aspect. It's not you who's making me do this, I feel this when you do this. It's like that relationship aspect. I love that. Okay, I was on a thought trail and I lost it. Wait. So we had questions around what brought you to me, how did you find your way to me? And oh yes, so we were going to I was going to ask you, okay, what are some limiting stories, programmings, beliefs you had? But I think we've already touched on some of them. Or like, as you mentioned, that there was around sisterhood. I don't want to be in groups. I'm already so behind. Maybe I don't want to be around someone who knows me. And all of that already creates, because something I recently listened to, which really was helpful to me, was that when you create a wall that I am going to block this out, you technically are creating a wall to block everything out. You are literally making it difficult for anything to reach you. So you have to work on all of that. And I know as a manifestation coach yourself, you would understand that you have to work on the things that have come up for you. And I love that you worked on them. But let's talk about some other things, like where, like we've talked about where you were in business life when you decided to work with me. What are some things that hinder you in your business at that time, if you could think of something apart from the ones that we've just talked about?
Well, the first thing was I was coming after a very long break, which is like around a year or so, which technically means I kind of lost how Instagram works and how the content creation and all those stuff, right? And to come up again on stories and talk, right, it's a whole different story of content itself. That is a whole game that I needed a kind of push towards, because the starting is tougher and restarting is like, it's way more tougher because we already know few parts of us, we would have evolved from how we started, and after a year or so when we come back and as a whole different person, I it's kind of very tough to put it out how I actually feel, how I am going through, what are all the things that I am going through, everything, right? So that is the first thing, to actually resume my work. And secondly, as you mentioned, I definitely felt left behind. What to say? I was like kind of a self sympathetic kind of thing, I would have done that if this is not happening, but I did not go there because of these reasons, and that kind of mindset block were there. And also the mindset blocks around how would people invest in me, how would people trust me, because she's going back, she's coming back, and she's playing hide and seek, how can someone trust me? These kind of blocks were there. And we worked on them. I don't know, like 2 weeks into that, we were able to crack it. So yeah, we definitely worked on all those things. And also another very major thing was like, when you're a mom, and that societal conditioning of, I think it's worldwide, but when it is Indian mentality of mommies, we are taking so much responsibility than how much we actually have to. So if my son sneezes, I would be like, okay, shut down, let me go there. That's how my mind was. Like, if there is something that is bothering him, that is kind of, it doesn't have to be literally upon me. Some my partner could take care, but I was like, no, 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 I can only do this perfectly. No one else can do this kind of, and if there is something wrong, I would also think, I will not focus on this. I'll be not there, I'll be not here. The both the roles will be collapsed. So that those are the things. And if you remember, I also had this kind of conversation with you when I had when we were planning all these freebie kind of thing, free challenge. If you remember, 7-day money mastery program challenge. So that time exactly, we were recording for this challenge, and he fell sick. Okay, I was like, this is what I said. Do you remember? This is how my business is taking, a backseat kind of things. And then you came out and said, like, now it's time to take care of him. Okay, go to the hospital, take care, and now think of the things how you can, keep your business while walking to the hospital. Think of how this is helping you in your business. When some other mom is coming to your program, how you can help her come out of this kind of wounds. So these are all the kind of things that I'm still applying. If you see me now, I'm like this. I'm preparing content like this. While cooking, I'm preparing content. Yeah, so it is like, it is not the coaching ended there. It is like I'm still thinking of all those the lines, the sentences that hit me very deeply. May not be, so seriously that you said, but those are the things that made me very stronger in this all through this journey.
Wow, I love it. And I'm gonna break the things that you mentioned, the points that you mentioned down for people, and also give a little bit of coaching around there, because the coach and me just cannot sit back, because you received it in a 3-month container. But the person listening to this is definitely, whenever I listen to podcast episodes and people say, I was struggling with this, I was struggling with this, and then now I'm not struggling with this anymore. And my immediate thought is, so what did you do? What was it? Give me something at least. So one thing that you said was the break. A lot of my clients come saying to me like this thing, that I am coming after a break. I don't know if I still have it in me. I don't know if I can still do this. It feels so difficult. Will people even care? Maybe people have forgotten about me, and all of those things. But restarting, what you've said is very well said, that it's even more difficult. I want to add on to it that restarting is logically easier, but mentally even more difficult, because the ego speaks even louder. Because when you're starting out, you don't know anything, so ego doesn't have anything to compare to, and you're like, oh, I'm starting, it's okay to make mistakes. Even if you have programming, then that part is also difficult. But when you are restarting, the ego is like, you did so much before, now you can't even make this reel in like 15 minutes, it's taking you 2 hours, you are not good at this anymore, and all of that goes into picture. So it's more ego taming required than the actual skill set. Because it's like driving. If you learn driving once, I don't know how to drive, but if you learn driving once and then you take a break and you try to drive again, it will take time for your neural pathways to connect again, but they will connect faster because the pattern is already there. What you need to take care of is that mental chatter that comes up. So that's the first thing. The second thing you said was feeling left behind. Comparison, I guess, is like the biggest thing of all, and it has definitely made me cry my eyes out. I have wanted to quit my business every 2 weeks, looking at other people. And now one thing I'm definitely going to recommend to everyone is please mute, like unfollow, block everyone. There's no one, even my clients are muted on my profile. Unless you're a current working client with me, you are muted. And if you are not a current client of mine, you would be unfollowed. And a lot of my clients get very triggered about this because they're like, what do you mean you're unfollowing me? Because there's so much attachment to the following metric. But my system is, if you're my current client, I'm going to see your content and I'm going to give you feedback. And I want to see only my coaching aspect. I have a dedicated account, like a spam account, how people call it. I have a dedicated spam account to sneak on people and see what they're up to and learn properly. And I will only open that account when I'm mentally ready and prepared to do it. So comparison, it really helps to stay in your own lane and remember that we are all on different timelines and we have different aspects, especially for mothers, because mothers constantly compare themselves and think that, oh, I could have done so much. And I'm saying this even though I'm not a mother. I have seen my mother say all of this, and I've seen a lot of my clients who are mothers say that I would be able to do so many things differently if I was different. I could do this. If I had support, blah 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 blah. But you are a testimony of how you defied all of those odds, because I love that Indian mother mentality that you brought up here. Like, that is definitely there, that I have to be, because there's a mother guilt attached to it. If I don't do it properly, then my kid is sick because of me. I am the one to blame here, because with responsibility, that blame and guilt also comes. And I remember the way you were talking, it jogged my memory. Like, I remember you saying this to me, that you leave everything the moment something happens to your kid. And I was like, yeah, I remember that. And I guess when a coach's voice and is speaking in your head, you know that you've got the right coach for you. Because that is something I was listening to a podcast today, and that's the sentence they said. And I was like, I wonder if my voice rings in people's ears at times. I'm like, what are you doing? You should be doing this instead. And I'm so glad you mentioned that to me. The one last thing that you said, which was in the middle somewhere, was how will people trust me if I am not consistent? And that comes up a lot. And I just recently had a conversation about this with a client of mine who said, if I am only posting on my stories and not posting on my feed, is it okay? She's asking me, is it okay? And I'm like, you tell me, is it okay? And she's like, I don't think so, because I'm only showing up to sell. What if people don't like me? What if people think I'm not blah, blah, I'm not trustable and all of that? But I told her, what is happening here is you're thinking that once you post a piece of content, it vanishes in thin air. It doesn't stay there anymore. That's not the case. You've posted for some time. So even if you are not showing up for some time, it's okay. If it's because of mother duties and everything, if it is because of limiting beliefs, I would say please work on them and then come back. But if it is because of an actual emergency, that association with consistency, I have to be there all the time in people's faces, yes. But also, your previous content is already doing it. Your previous content will be found by people. I have a very weird example of this. So a lot of people who are dating different people right now, influencers and celebrities, their old posts of old dating times are coming up now. And I was like, wait, did they break up and started dating with the different person again? So your old content does find people. Yeah, so that was what I had to say. Now, coming to you, how did we actually work through it inside the coaching container, if you remember anything?
Yeah, first I just wanted to add when you said about muting, I remember the framework that you had for it. It's so funny. Do you remember that? Bump technique, which is block, follow, and mute. Yeah, so I remember that. I just got it when you were saying that. So yeah, that exactly helped because I muted. I did not unfollow because I muted many of them, and that really helps. If someone is listening to this and they are comparing a lot, they definitely can mute. That is permission slip right there. You can do it. So that helped. And secondly, it takes time. So you definitely have to give it some time. You have to sit with those emotions. And sometimes you give me journal prompts. Like I as a manifestation coach, I also do know all these things. We need someone else out there to actually give some questions, as I mentioned, the blind spots, right? That I wouldn't see the kind of questions that you give me. So, okay, this is something coming up. Okay, I still have those notes, right? What is exactly blocking you? What, okay, so if you are putting it out, what do you think will happen? Kind of these kind of questions. I wouldn't sit and write those things because I may give these kind of questions to my clients, but when it comes to me, it doesn't, catch our thoughts, right? So these kind of journaling that definitely helped me, and voice notes. I don't know if these things are still there. Whenever I have some questions, let me just break through that, because we worked for 3 long months, 12 weeks, and the first 2 weeks I'll come to you for everything. Okay, this has happened, and what to do now? What happened? The kind of coaching will be so big, kind of spoon feeding. And after that, it was like, okay, think about it. What can you do? Kind of you question me back, right? And then when I'm in the 12th week, I was kind of independent. I know, like, okay, this, if I bring this question to Ashu, this is what she's gonna ask me. This is what she's gonna give me. So I can do this. Then, that kind of these kind of things helped me a lot, because it is not always spoon feeding, right? Because I cannot rely on you for whole lifetime. And when I'm outside the container also, I can equip myself. And as I mentioned, I'm still, working on those things. And when I'm creating this reel, okay, this is gonna be making, me proud, right? The kind of content that I'm putting out, that is making me proud. That doesn't have to, explore the internet. That doesn't have to, if that comes to a person and they see that and they get some value out of it, they get some push out of it, that is the whole intention out there. So that kind of stuff, or something that we really worked on, it is not something that when you go to some, okay, rigid strategy, rigid business coaches, it is like they go deep into strategy. It's not more of, mindset. It's not more of, even if it is mindset, it is not more of intentional, right? Not conscious content creation. So these are the things that helped me. And when it comes to getting back into the work after a long break, it took me some time, definitely. When you have someone behind you, right? When you have someone cheering for you, okay, I am very proud of you getting out there and putting it out in your stories. That really push you. Right? Okay, if I put it out, at least my coach is gonna watch it. She will come back and give me some review, because I am paying for it. I have to do it so that she'll give me review. That is kind of mindset that helped me as well. I don't know if that reflect that resonate with some people, but definitely, because we are paying for those things, when we are given assignment, we will definitely work on that and we'll push it out. Yeah.
I love that you mentioned it, because that was going to be my first point. Because as you speak, I was making pointers. And one thing that definitely came up for me was that the I know mentality as a coach comes up a lot, because that's the lack of embodiment piece. That happens a lot because we know so much, we study so much, we expand our skills so much, we're always taking courses and coaches and everything. Yeah, I know it's a limiting belief, but then what about it? Do you do something with it? You don't, because you're so busy just knowing things instead of holding and being in that space. And that doesn't go away unless you invest. That doesn't go away unless you have money on the line and you're like, I have to go big and I am paying for receiving this coaching. So I have to make the most of it. And I have realized it with so many things like that, because when I would watch like a free webinar of someone, I'm like, yeah, I know that, yeah. And then when I watch someone's like same masterclass, if I've paid X amount of dollars for it, I am writing down even how they're doing their housekeeping. Oh, this is a good way to do housekeeping. I might involve it in my free events or something. So I totally get that point, and I'm so glad you mentioned it. And the whole point is to become self-sufficient at the current level that you're at, so that you do not need to depend on someone. Because if a person is constantly making you depend on them, that's not a very healthy relationship. I guess we can go into relationship coaching. Totally, this episode is directed towards it for some reason. But I want to know the story. And I think a lot of listeners also want to know the story of the charging 3 times the price to the client, the old client. What came up? Why did you want to do it? Because after coming from a break, a lot of people are like, I think I should charge less because I have just come out of a break. But I know I give so much. I should increase my prices. So there's this like to and fro pendulum motion going on. How did you overcome that? What was the pricing? What did the client say? How did that make you feel? If you remember those entire aspects, absolutely please share them.
Yeah. So when we started working, after that, just after 2 weeks of we working together, I got this girl coming to me for a discovery call. So like discovery call was scheduled like 2 days later to that. So we had some time in between. So we worked on that definitely. First thing was like, when I charged her, I was a newbie. I was just launching a program that just after my beta, she came to me. So it was like the charge was okay for me, right? But when she came back after like 1.5 years or so, I have equipped myself a lot. I have evolved a lot, and the life has thrown a lot on me, and I have learned a lot as well. So when you ask me what is the kind of charging, what is the kind of price that you feel is good for you feel is aligned with this program, and that number came up was like a bit shocker, right, for me. So it was like 3 times of what I charged her earlier. Not 3 times, it's more than 3 times actually. When you are putting this price to some new person, she might get it maybe, but when you are putting the same price to the person who invested in you 3 times lesser than this, it is kind of, the kind of hesitation, anxiety is so huge. So we worked on that, and I came to a level where I should choose them, right? But this is my energetic standard. If they are coming here, okay. If they're not coming here, let them find the right person who can help them come up here. Then she can come to me. So that is the kind of work that we did. This is the result, but what work we did was like so much of back and forth questioning, and we literally get on a call, right? And we worked on it, worked on my mindset and the questions. I remember this one question: I'm not good at sales, something around it. This is what I said, and you asked me like, then why are sales coaches out there? Definitely you can run a business even if you don't know sales, right? So these are the questions that kind of, I'm just remembering some part of it, but this is something that came up on my mind. So these are the kind of crazy limiting beliefs that will come up, and you definitely know that no is definitely not the answer. You definitely know you have to go forward, but you need some other person right beside you to tell this, to remind you of your own potential. And that is exactly why coaches are very important. And yeah, these are the things that we worked on. And when on the day of discovery call, I was so chilled out. I was like, I know her, I know where the thing is, because she already saw results. Okay, she was working for the very first time for the 6 long weeks, and she wanted to move to a different country, and she was struggling to move to that country for 1.5 years. And we were on 6 calls, and the sixth call she's attending from a new country. So she already saw that result. We have already created those kind of unimaginable results for her, and she invested like kind of lakhs to move from this place to another, and she invested in me is like peanuts for her when compared to that. So when I asked for 3 times more, I also got that kind of confidence, because I have already created results for her. So definitely she can invest on me, and if not, that is also fine. I will I'll have some space for the right kind of client to get inside. So yeah, that's that.
What was her reaction when you said the 3 times the amount?
First, she asked me, is that it? Kind of. And then, yeah, these are the kind of resources I'm creating. Because even before that, we created this PDF. So it was handy. So it was like I could show her what exactly is inside that, and she could actually visualize it, picturize what is exactly going to happen. And that made her to be very strong in saying yes to that. And yeah, at first she gave me like what kind of reaction, and then she asked me kind of a discount, and then I said, no, this is already a discounted price. And I did not even launch it, and I'm just giving it for you. So definitely it's already a discounted price, and you can think of it. You can definitely go ahead, take the PDF, and come back to me if you have any questions. And I was really confident in, because I have already created results with her. Our energies could create results, then definitely we can create results again. So that is the kind of confidence I already had.
I love that. And I love you mentioned the PDF because that is so important. A lot of people think that do I need a sales page? Do I need a PDF? Do I need this? The thing is, you don't need anything. You need to find out the reason. Even people ask, do I need slides for my presentation? Like if I'm going to go out and speak something, do I need slides? All of these questions, the reason why I don't answer them, I'm like, do you think you need them? And the way they say is, I think I do. Why is the question? And when you present a PDF to someone, when I'm talking about a PDF, I'm saying an offer document where you've mentioned what you'll give in the offer. What is it? You are giving an intangible service. Services are intangible. And you don't understand. A lot of people get so scared that, oh, what I'm offering is intangible. Will people even buy? People even understand? You don't understand that you can make the intangible tangible by having some elements of it. You can have something that makes you feel good in like presenting your offer. Okay, here is my PDF. That makes your nervous system grounded, and you are on a call with the client who is on a discovery call with you. If they pick up on that energy of, oh, she's so grounded, she knows her shit, she is here for business, they will feel grounded as well and investing in you and trusting you. But the reason why you don't have anything, even if it's a PDF sales page, whatever it is, you don't need 10,000 things, you just need that one anchor. And if you don't have that, you might feel scared. I don't know if this person's going to invest in me. And then you're pitching, but back of the mind, this is going on, the person is picking up on it and they react in a different way. And even if the person says no, when you decide to pitch the actual price, it's okay because you are grounded, so you can move on to the next person, and the person sees that, oh, you didn't give in to their demands, you didn't buy, because there's always that buying process happening. Either the client buys from you or you buy their limiting beliefs. What are you going to go for? Do you want to buy their limiting beliefs and collect a lot of limiting beliefs that do not really help you and have a bag of them behind you every time you take a discovery call? Or would you want to have a empowered version of you given to the client that this is the vision I have for you? And I love the results you've created for that client. I love the way you said it. I think make another story about it if you've not already. I know you've posted it, but more and more is required. People forget about things because first call she was here, sixth call she's taking it from a new country. This the results I create for you. This is so powerful. I love that for you. And what is the one thing you would say to someone listening to this is who is scared of charging more, especially to their old clients? What would you say to them?
Okay, because all clients, if they are coming back to you, which means you have definitely created an impact. You have touched their soul in some way or the other. Leave about the tangible results. You have definitely touched them, at least made them feel good, right? So that itself is a proof that that is a testimonial for your own service, right? So you can just pitch that itself to them, showcasing this is why you are coming back to me. This is, not in the literal sense, but this, in an energetic sense, in a hidden way or something, that we have already created these kind of results, and this amount is not gonna work. This amount is not gonna, make any kind of big difference, right? So these kind of things, I'm definitely working on mindset, because we should be so much ready to be not okay with that as well. She being not okay with this price, because I'm okay, even if she's investing, even if she is not investing, I'm not going to let my energetic standard down. So that is the kind of mindset that we have to pull ourselves up. That is the first thing before even getting the clients into that energetic standard, right? So we have to first understand, realize, and what to say, I'm just losing that word, prove ourselves, or we need to have that kind of courage that we are here, the confidence, right? Yes, I have already created this result, and I can definitely pull it off even more than what I have already created. And that is going to happen when you are definitely sitting with yourself, sitting with your mindset, and working on that consistently. Because those 2 weeks, I was like, if you saw me, like that 2 weeks were like very much work. Like I was literally sitting down, asking you questions, and there's a lot I did. Not in the strategy part, not in the content wise. It's not only physical things, more of our energetic side as well. So those are the things I worked on. And if you are gonna charge someone for that, definitely go ahead. What is feeling aligned for you? It is not just because someone else is charging XYZ, I have also charged XYZ. Even if your mind is saying, oh, just charge XYZ minus 10, XYZ minus 1,000, then go ahead with that. It is not necessary to rely on industrial standards. But you have to set your standard. It's your business, as you say. a kind of separate entity. It's a separate soul that has its own calling. And if it is calling you to have some price, that is the price that is mentioned. So don't go for the standards that's mentioned out there. Go for it. And I remember a girl who it was like around 3K. Okay, when I charged for the beta, it was just 3K for 6 weeks. And I was like, I know how crazy I was, like charging this kind of peanuts. But now, at that time, I was like, okay, at least I should get some experience. I don't know what coaching is. I don't know what online business is. So I was like, okay, go, let me do this for her. And this girl said 3K is too much for this kind of program. Okay. And I was like, okay, good. Then you can consume my free resources. You can do this. And I was still helping her out in ways I could. And I just felt good about it because I have now, space for soul aligned clients for me. Then after my beta's over, she came back to me for after seeing all the results. She came back to me for like more than more than what I charged, right? So it was around twice or more than twice of what I asked her. And when she asked, "Is this the price?" Yes, I said. Then she invested in me. So they will come back after they see the results or whatever they want to see in you. So we have to give some time. We have to give them the space to think, breathe. Yeah, that is what. If they are
Absolutely.
aligned, they'll come back.
Absolutely. And some people are just destined to pay you more money karmically. So they will just not pay you. People ask me a lot, like, if I increase my prices or if no one pays me, they're not paying at this low price, how will they pay at the high price? But what if karmically they're destined to pay at a higher price? They're supposed to go through certain things, and you are too. And you are not increasing your price. So those people are not able to pay you and have that karmic connection fulfilled and done, all that karmic contracts done. What are you doing if you're not increasing your prices? So I love that you mentioned that that client came to you, didn't sign up for the beta, but then came after the beta and then did sign up. And I love all of that. How about you share a little about your podcast? And then we get into how someone can work with you. And what would you say to someone who's thinking of working with me?
So regarding my podcast, I wanted to start podcast like very long time ago because podcast is an easier option. I definitely want to go for a long time kind of content, but Instagram is for like seconds. That is not mine. So I wanted to do that, but YouTube is a way to kind of high jump for me doing all these roles and picking up at that time. But podcast is a very much aligned thing. And also when we worked on together, you talked about human design, which I was not so much into, but still you said throat chakra. What is that? I don't know. Throat center is open or closed. I don't know. That is working for me. That is good for me. So I can, you want to add something?
I will just pull up your chart as you speak. I'll pull it up on my side if I think I still have it, and then we can have a detailed discussion. But you can go on till then.
Yeah, so that is another thing that felt like, okay, when this is also good, we can go ahead and create a podcast. And I had everything ready, right? When we work together, this is how you have to make your page, this is how you have to go for it, and this is how where you can pick your free library of music. Everything was already there for me. When I wanted to start my podcast, I just referred this, go, did that. I did not. Okay, you know that I'm not a tech person at all. Like for every, I made my website with my husband's inputs. I always ask help from him. For the podcast, like I did everything. Like I was so proud. The next day I was like, you know what? I created my own podcast. That's how I felt. That's not a huge thing for many people, but for me it was like, oh my god, this is so much, and I have done it, right? But it was already, there are a few things I had to search in Google's, of course, but still most of the things were already laid out for me in our calls, and that really helped. And also for the podcast, I just started like when I got that kind of nudge after some time. I know that is not the right time because when we worked together, that we had a lot to work on. So podcast, it's not the right time for me to start, and I was not feeling aligned with it. So I started like last year. Yeah. And yeah, it is Dream Big with Shri. It is there in all the podcast platforms. So you can tune into it, listen to it if you are interested in mindset, manifestation, all things. around it, spirituality.
Love it. And I have your chart right next to me. So you do have a defined throat, which I was looking at, and a defined throat is really good with speaking. And being a projector that you are, you have so in-depth knowledge, you just cannot deal with short talk. The short talk is not your thing. You need to go deep, you need to tell deeper things, and that two combination of the projector and the defined throat works so well with the podcast. And I love that you mentioned that you did it at your own time. And I guess when you said it, the thing that came to my mind is that is why I hold the highest vision of you in my mind when you're working with me, because I'm not seeing you for these 3 months, I'm seeing you for the next 10 years. And if you are going to start a podcast in the next 10 years, I'm going to put some resource for you somewhere so that you can have it handy when you go out. And I love that you mentioned you did it all by yourself, you didn't take help. Google doesn't count. I'm just gonna say Google doesn't count as help. It's just there. You did it all by yourself. And that is how far you've come from someone who was not online, who didn't have a Facebook account, who was just not in the online industry as such, to now coming to this point where you are online, you make such good content and such good reels. For a minute I was like, what happened to this content? It's like suddenly all of a sudden the content has gotten so good. And then on top of it, you created your own podcast and you set it up. And I have to add it there, as a mother, because a lot of people think, I am a mother, I don't have time for this, I can't figure out the technical stuff, I don't have support. You are in a different country, you don't even have the support of like how grandparents, I can just leave them with the grandparents, you don't have that. You don't have, I don't think your country as well, you can have someone who helps you with the house help and everything. That is not an option. Along with all of that, you didn't have all of that and you still did everything. I'm going to remove the word still, because a lot of people think this is something like rare people can do, but no, it's something everyone can do. And you being a mother is just a facet of your life, it's a part of your life, it's not the whole of it. It does feel very fulfilling and it fills a lot of part of your life, but you are so much more than just being one aspect of you. And your kids get so proud of you when you are doing things and they're like, oh, my mother's doing this, I love that. So I love that you mentioned it.
Yeah, like this one thing, when I feel as a mom, definitely I was there because I thought only one role can be fulfilled at every minute, right? So, when I started working on my dreams and things like that, there is one thing that always made me again go back to my dream, is that when my mom said to me that I had to quit my job to take care of you both, me and my younger brother, that time our heart broke. Right, like definitely she is a good mom, she take care of us, but we are the reason behind she not pursuing her work is like something so daunting, so bad to experience, right? So whenever I think about my son, I will be like, what do you want? Whether you want to make your son happy right now or you go pursue a dream and make him proud, what do you want? Choose. So that is the one mindset thing that I always think about. And I also think me, visualizing me telling this kind of thing to my son and how will he feel. So these are the things that push me towards my own dreams as well. So these are, yeah. And about the content, I'm like, earlier I was a pro overthinker, now I don't give time to think, okay, I have to make a content, okay, this is what I already have a kind of sheet, I put it out. So this is the kind of content, okay, this goes today, this goes tomorrow. That is like, it's not like so much of strategy, so much of think, okay, this is how you have to coin the word so that she will think this way, and then she will, okay, she is also a girl, she has a lot of work. Whoever you are thinking as your ideal client, because we think as one person, and that is how we design content. So that is like a lot of work. They don't have that much of time to invest in you, in your this shit piece of content, right? There's still a lot of work out there for her. So go ahead, put it out, and you definitely have a lot of time. I always said this, even in our calls, if you remember, I always said that I have a lot of time, but I don't know how exactly to map it, or how exactly to, most of my time was spent on overthinking, I guess. Okay, I have to do this, I have to do that, and then I have to come back and, make myself ready for this reel, sit down, prepare notes, script. No, I'm not going to do that. I have a very straightforward, the lazy girl kind of thing. My mom called me the lazy girl, and they always have the shortcut for everything. They always find the easiest way to do those things. So I became the lazy girl in my content, my business. So that helped me a lot. Don't get this if you are not used to that lazy girl thing. Yeah. That is the thing.
I am absolutely in awe of the work. And yes, I do have a person that I know very well and always labeled as lazy. But when I see they find the solutions to the things that people take so much time to do, so that's beautiful. And there was one thing that you mentioned, which I was very happy about, is okay, I've lost my thought. There's a lot of losing trail of thought. But yes, you're breaking generational patterns there, and you're breaking the guilt that you might be carrying generationally because your mother quit the job that her mother might have done something, and that guilt is, we think the mother guilt is just because right now we have to be a good mom. But the mother guilt is actually a generational guilt as well, because you're thinking, my mother did this, I also need to do it, or my mother didn't do this, I need to do this. All of those things, there's so much patterns and things going in deep. And I love that we had this conversation, because I feel like the one, even though I'm able to help mothers, I feel like there needs to be a mother's perspective in here. And I'm glad you brought that to the podcast, so that someone who is a mother, is a business owner, can come to this podcast and listen to it and be like, oh yes, she gets me. And we've had collectively sort of synchronize this conversation in a way that helps business women who are mothers to dream big. And you are a role model for all of those people, I would say. Yeah. Well, thank you for spreading your magic, and tell me, how can someone work with you and find you?
Okay, so in Instagram, my page is Manifest with Shri. You can find me there. I am putting out spicy content out there, definitely, because I am so proud of the kind of content I'm putting out right now. After coming here, right after landing here, I was like, I was on fire. So I'm putting it out, and you can definitely use all those and DM me if you have any questions. We can work on mindset, manifestation as a lifestyle, right? You don't have to sit for a long time. That is my style, right? You don't have to use a lot of techniques and break your head on what's working and what's not, right? So that is my kind of working. You can definitely DM me, send me your love, send me your questions, whatever you have.
Absolutely. Do reach out to Shri if you have questions. If you like the episode, just go tell her. Because I know you are definitely going to come to me telling me how much you love the episode. But go and tell Shri about how much you love the episode and what all she has accomplished. And Shri, what would you say to someone who is thinking of working with me, is on the fence, maybe thinking, oh, I'll do it next year, or maybe I will work on myself a little bit all by myself and then see if it's the right fit for me, because you took your time to decide, and I love that for you. So what would you tell someone else who's taking their time to decide?
Okay, for me, it was very clear that very first time I saw your page, I was like, I want to invest in her. But the time I took was to, ground my energy, my nervous system around the kind of investment that I put it out, right? So that is the thing. So if you are still thinking, think of the questions what you have and don't think much, ask it out for her so that she will answer most of your questions. And definitely go ahead, because I did not have a lot of doubt around you, your potential, or so I don't get a lot of what kind of doubts they do have. I'm just thinking about it.
I think it's not about the doubt in the coach, and even not in my context as well. Sometimes it's the doubt in yourself, because if you're investing in something, it means you're betting on yourself.
Mhm.
Betting money on horses, you're betting money on yourself. Is it gonna work? And this time you're the only one in the race. So you get so self-absorbed with all the limiting beliefs that you have. Is it gonna work for me? Those doubts are never about the coach at times. So how do you?
Yeah. So, you know, the thing is, you need someone to push you, someone to tell you the same thing that you already know as well, someone to remind you of those things. That exactly is where a coach comes in, and the vibe, that is something that I always recommend people to go for. Check your vibe with her content, with when she's talking, go to her old stories and see her talking reels, and see yourself being in that room and see how it feels. If it feels aligned, don't even second guess. When you are missing this opportunity, you are just pushing your pushing your success, your dreams away, your dreams a little bit. You are just postponing your success, right? Why do even think of that way? Just invest, because it's worth it. Definitely it's worth it. You definitely are going to have lifetime access, I guess. Most of her programs have some lifetime access to it. All for me, I worked with you for one-on-one, and that had lifetime access to the kind of calls that we had. And I still, when I was in India, recently, like for the 3 months vacation, I went to India, and that time I went to that meditation of future self. Do you remember? I don't know if you remember, but yeah, we had that meditation, and I did that. And I sometimes listen to the affirmations voice note that you sent me about attracting clients. It is not like a huge, it's not a techie thing, but it is more of energy, and that is going to help you go far. But definitely invest in it, and it is worth it, because you're not putting money for just 3 months or 4 months or whatever you're investing into. You are investing for a kind of, I worked with her on January 2023, and this is 2024 December, and I still have those resources, and I still look up to them. I still think of them. It's not just going, sitting and looking at the resources. It's just you thinking about it, and how will she answer this question, how will she respond to this kind of content. And that is the kind of impact that you are going to get out of it. And if you are investing in kind of mastermind kind of a thing, you are definitely going to have a kind of community, the kind of people that you can take for a lifelong friendship, right? Earlier I was very much afraid of this kind of group setup, but definitely I have invested in some other program where I had the community, and I had some friends out there with whom I'm still in contact. I'm still like, whatever doubts, whatever, the small wins, very small wins, that you will not go to someone, some high end coaches to celebrate it, right? So you will have some set of people with you, and that is something that mastermind has. Yeah, all her programs will be magical. Go invest in her. I can watch on it.
Oh my God, thank you. And I love that you mentioned that we worked in Jan 2023. It's November 2024. So the person is still consistent with their sentence.
I said it's December, right?
But
It's
still
Christmas vibes here
consistent.
already. So I thought it's December.
Yeah, so you're still consistent with that feeling of, yes, I would still like to invest, whether the decision that I made was the right decision I made back then, and I'm not regretting, because regret is the one of the biggest things when you regret in an investment, is when you know it was a red flag all along. But I love that you mentioned it, and I love that you mentioned about the community, because I have a couple of people who tell me that who were in my mastermind, they made a separate group without me. And now they still talk there, and they still talk in that group on Telegram. I am not there because I had such strong boundaries, and they are still connected. They still appreciate each other, share each other's posts and everything. And man, what have I created? So I love that. And I love that you mentioned about the lifetime access. Yes, so you get recording accesses. Like once a container is over, you still have access to your call recordings, the resources that I might have shared during those 3 months. All of that stays with you in a very pretty Notion board. I am your Notion girly. And if you don't know Notion, it's okay. I am very patient. I will teach you. And I love it. So thank you so much, Shri, for coming onto this podcast.
Thank you. It's so my pleasure to be here in yours.
Thank you for tuning into your Spiritual Business Coach podcast and for listening to this episode. You've made it so far at the end of this episode, which means you've received a lot of universal codes that were packed into it. So take time to receive them and let them get coded into your soul. And if you're feeling a little too generous, I would love for you to drop me a review or rating on whatever platform you're listening this on. If you feel the nudge to tell me what you felt about the episode or to inquire about how to work with me, drop me a message on Instagram at Listening Stories Untold, and I will see you in the next episode.